Hello again. Time to make our cup cozy. I'm going to have a drink of tea. Nice hot tea. I love hot tea. I drink it too much, but I love it. Anyway, let's get started. So I've got all my stitches cast on, and I'm ready to roll. Now, when you stitch on double pointed needles, when you knit with double pointed needles, you're actually only going to be working with one needle at a time. I'm going to be working these stitches first, so I can just let the other needles just hang there. And now I get an empty needle, and I arrange the needles so that it's easy for me to work. I don't want it to be forward of the needles like this. I want the top to be back behind that first needle like that, and I want the left side of the needle to be in front of that back needle. It just makes it easier for me to hold. And now I'm ready to get started. So I'll just go into this stitch just like a normal knit stitch. And this is why you wanted to make sure your yarn was at the back when you first joined in the round, because that's how you work. So the pattern says to knit 2, purl 2. Knit 2 stitches, and now we're ready to purl 2 stitches. And to purl, you need to make sure that your yarn is forward before you purl. So now we're going to purl 2 stitches. 1, 2, and I'm doing this slow so that you can watch what I'm doing. I don't usually work this slow, and it's kind of awkward reaching around this camera anyway. So now I just purled this 2, and you saw quickly I just took it back because I knew I was going to be doing 2 knit stitches. So make sure you take the yarn back, and now we do 2 knit stitches. And now we're going to have to bring it forward and do 2 purl stitches. So we just keep doing that over and over again. 2 knit stitches, 2 purl stitches. And always make sure that you take the yarn to the front for the purl stitches and take it to the back for the knit stitches. Knit 2, and now I'm going to purl the last 2 stitches. Purl 2. So now it's time to switch over to the next needle. So take your yarn back for a knit stitch. And now you have an empty needle that you just took all the stitches off of, and that's going to be your knitting needle now. So now we switch to the next needle. Make sure the right is back behind that point there, and it's in front of this point over here. And your first stitch on this needle is going to have to be snug so that you don't have a big gap across here. So make that one tight, and then you can kind of relax your grip after that first stitch. And now we purl 2. I'll tell you, sitting here with my arms around this camera does not make it easy to knit. But at least it keeps it slow so you can see what I'm doing. So I'm going to finish this round so you can see what I meant about my marker, because you see I don't have a marker on this, but my marker is that tail of yarn from where I first cast on. I don't usually use bamboo needles, but I decided to try them with this yarn and see how they work. I've learned that different needles work better with different yarns. Like for cotton yarns, I sometimes like to use wooden needles. Okay, so here's that big gap again. We want to make sure we close that gap on the first stitch of the next needle. And I've noticed that with acrylic yarn, sometimes it works better to have metal needles. The yarn seems to flow better with that. And wool yarn, I like plastic needles. but that's just me. But you'll probably find over time which needles you like to use with which yarn. It's good to have a variety of different knitting needles so that you can try and see how they all feel with different yarns. Here I'm at the last 2 stitches. I'm going to purl these 2. There. And there's my yarn tail that I started off with, and that's my marker. That means I'm at the end of the round. So I did the first round. Now it says repeat the last round of ribbing for 2.5 inches. So now I'm going to just keep on doing that over and over again for 2.5 inches until it's 2.5 inches long, like this. So I'm going to work on that, and you work on yours, and then in our next video we'll be ready to change colors. So that is it. It was great to work with you again. I'll see you soon in the Bernat forum at the Bernat Yarn website, www.bernat.com. Bye.